What's the most unusual or quirky property you've come across?
Well, over the last 21 years, I've come across some very unusual and quirky properties. I think there are a couple that spring to mind. One was a huge house in America. It was our luxury property. And in the basement, it had a replica of the owner's hometown, the high street. So it had a bowling alley, a cinema, a shop. It had all the shop fronts as well. It was very personalised. And the other one is a cave house that I went to have a look at, which actually was very cheap. It was under £20,000 and it was lovely. That was very quirky as well.
What's your favourite travel hack that you've picked up over the years?
My favourite travel hack that I always do is to remember you don't need as much as you think you need in terms of what you're packing, because you can save yourself hours in the airport with not having to queue up to check in a bag and with not having to wait around at the carousel for your bag to come out. So even if I'm going away for 2 weeks, I just take hand luggage.
What's the funniest thing that has happened to you while filming?
I could regale you with stories from over the years. We've had some hilarious and also cringe moments. One that I remember, it wasn't very funny at the time, but now I can look back on it and it was quite funny, was when we were filming in a microlight and I had this very handsome kind of Tom Cruise-esque pilot flying me on the microlight, but I started to get a bit of motion sickness and ended up vomiting inside my helmet. I was very embarrassed.
What country has your favourite local food?
I think the country that has my most favourite local food is probably somewhere I've never been on a place in the sun. I am going to say Sri Lanka, because I once went to Sri Lanka and I think it was the best food I've ever had in my entire life. I think in terms of a place in the sun, sort of European locations, the best food's got to be Italy, right? Pizza, pasta, what's not to love?
What's your favourite souvenir you've picked up while filming?
I think my favourite souvenir that I've picked up on my travels is probably my husband. His name's John. I picked him up on a place in the sun. I think it was in Spain.
What's your favourite part about meeting house hunters?
My favourite part about meeting my house hunters is getting to know them, hearing their stories, hearing how long they've been dreaming about owning a place in the sun and then making it happen for them. It's a really, really special moment. I always end up in tears because you get so invested in them. And that, I think, is what keeps me coming back after all these years.
What destination has surprised you the most while filming?
I mean, the destinations we've been to over the last 2 decades are absolutely incredible. But I think the most surprising and in fact jaw-dropping place that I've ever been to was Montenegro, because I didn't know what to expect and the scenery was breathtaking.
Can you remember the very first property you filmed in?
My first episode was the pilot for A Place in the Sun, Home or Away, and Johnny was in Devon and I was in Cape Town in South Africa. And the first house I showed my house hunters was very grand, very opulent. It was really hard actually because it was my first time doing it. I was sweating, I was nervous, but I managed to push my way through it and here I am 21 years later.
What's the most valuable tip you've learned from house hunting over the years?
It's hard to say what the single most valuable tip would be, but I think, and something that I've learned myself with my own house hunt, is to be open-minded, to know what you want, what's non-negotiable, but also to think outside the box a little bit and be prepared to compromise. Because it doesn't matter what your budget is, there'll always be something that you'll need to compromise on.